Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Megan Roberts. We begin in the Northwest Territories, where federal officials say a spill at Giant Mine is not an environmental concern. On-site crews discovered the spill of arsenic-contaminated water last week. It's reported to be somewhere between 30 to 40,000 liters. An investigation is ongoing, but federal officials say they haven't found any impact to the surrounding area, and they're not expecting to. Crown Indigenous Relations and Northern Affairs Canada says the spilled mine water is expected to return to the underground mine pool. It says no runoff or pooling has been found. The potential impacts are still being assessed, including any to the ground below the spill. The spill was caused by a faulty valve. The exact malfunction of that valve is also being investigated. Retaining nurses in Nunavut's healthcare system has been an ongoing challenge. There are severe staffing shortages affecting services across the territory. But a new job-sharing model could bring relief and attract a wider pool of nurses to fill these critical roles. Carl Cardinal explains.
Due to staffing shortage, approximately 1,900 service days were reduced to emergency services across all Nunavut communities this year. Rankin Inlet, Noyat and Pinglerton topped the vacancy challenges with approximately 80% of vacant positions. Jennifer Berry is the Assistant Deputy Minister of Health, and she says it can be difficult for current nurses to cover the workload.
It is very challenging, and especially if it's a health center that has seen more reduced services because of staffing shortages. It creates more stress in the workplace. It also leads to more burnout.
Berry says that previously, the only employment options were to work full-time or to be casual. But a new job-sharing employment model will allow multiple nurses to occupy the same position.
And so the job share allows more than one nurse to share a full-time line. And by doing this, not only will we have the same nurses rotating in and out on a fixed schedule, it also will allow us to use our transient units for that staff accommodation.
Berry says the workforce shifted in the last few years, with employees looking for improved work-life balance. She hopes this model will attract nurses that may not have been interested before.
I think of our nurses that are nearing the end of their career. A lot of times they leave their full-time work in Nunavut to move down south to care for aging parents or to spend more time with their grandbabies.
Government has hired 15 new nurses under the job share model. This first cohort is expecting to start working this fall. Carl Cardinal, CBC News, Iqaluit.
Two cyclists living with Parkinson's disease are close to completing a huge journey across 2 territories. They started in Whitehorse and will soon reach the Arctic Ocean. The duo wants to show what's possible when living with Parkinson's, and they're part of a larger national ride called the Spinning Wheels Relay. The CBC's Des Loreen has their story.
Check your bear spray. Yeah. Have you gotten rid of that rattle yet?
Lloyd Taylor and Steve Eisman both live with Parkinson's disease. They found through cycling that it helps lessen their symptoms.
I was diagnosed 11 years ago, and I spent the first 5 years in hiding. So forgetting about those, somewhat wasted years, I'd heard about the benefits of exercise, and started going to cycling charity events for Parkinson's.
Yeah, I did.
Now they advocate for healthy, active living and spread awareness about the positive impact of cycling on Parkinson's.
To document something that I don't think had been documented before scientifically, which is not just a cessation of Parkinson's symptoms, and frankly, nothing does that, but even a partial rollback of symptoms, which is frankly very big news.
There was one guy.
You need to get an older medic.
Taylor hopes they will inspire others with Parkinson's to stay active in their communities.
And we find that by building community and sharing common experiences and showing people that it's okay to live with Parkinson's, it helps people come back into the world. So community is at the heart of what we're doing.
The relay is expected to reach Tuktoyaktuk tonight. From there, the cyclists will fly to Ontario, where they will ride with 2 other teams to Ottawa for a big final event. Des Loreen, CBC News, Inuvik.
Indigenous women from across North America gathered in Mexico to help stop violence against Indigenous women and girls. The Trilateral Working Group on Violence Against Indigenous Women and Girls held the meeting earlier this month. The group includes women from Canada, Mexico, and the U.S. At the meeting, participants shared ideas and exchanged information on government policies. The goal is to help protect Indigenous women, girls, and gender-diverse people.
We work together, we find solutions together, and if we find something that's working in Canada, we share it with our sisters from the United States and Mexico, and it's an exchange so that all of the Indigenous women can thrive.
Topics this year included self-determination, gender-based violence, and Indigenous rights under UNDRIP, the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. Reliable access to clean drinking water has been an issue for many First Nations communities for a long time, despite government initiatives meant to address the problem. One community in southern Ontario is tired of waiting, so it's taking the federal government to court. Jayla Bernstein has that story.
My people do not deserve this kind of treatment. It's time.
The elected chief of Six Nations is fed up.
No one outside the community gives a damn. If they did, I wouldn't be here.
She says about 8,500 people in her community can't drink their tap water. After years of waiting for action, they're preparing to sue the federal government.
We have to go to the courts to finally get something done.
Six Nations of the Grand River is not remote. It's 30 minutes from Brantford and Hamilton. It even has its own water treatment plant. So why do most people not trust their tap water here?
Everything really boils down to money, to me. Like, it's not just the funding that they provide now that's not enough. It's the funding they didn't provide 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years ago.
A decade ago, the federal government helped pay to build this plant. But Public Works says there's never been enough money to cover the cost of sending that water throughout its community. That leaves 70% of homes on reserve without access to a water main. Indigenous Services Canada says it's invested $41 million to ensure all residents of Six Nations have access to safe drinking water, either through piped connections to their homes, truck delivery to cisterns, or fill stations located throughout the community. This is what that looks like. When people's water runs out, they drive here to fill up, or they pay for delivery trucks. Some have wells, but most are contaminated and unsafe. It's a patchwork system that comes with risk.
Can we guarantee that, well water is safe, or what they're doing with the water from that truck fill, what the container they're putting it in, and how they're connecting it to their home and using it? No, we can't.
The federal government says there is a need for transformational change and touts its proposed First Nations Clean Water Act as a solution. But that bill hasn't been passed, and the community is tired of waiting. They hope the courts will be their answer. Jayla Bernstein, CBC News, Six Nations of the Grand River.
Oh, imagine how good the TV is going to look now. And spoiler alert.
No. Don't panic.
Don't panic.
Cut to. Well, we're not cutting to.
What do ladies want to watch?
Look out! It's drama.
Oh.
I'm ready for it.
Triple. Homicide accepted.
Everything all right here?
Yeah. Is there a problem?
We got a call about a disturbance.
I just think there's something really off about this guy.
Oh!
I've lived through today, this day, before. I need you to believe me and tell me I'm not completely crazy. What would you be prepared to do if you had one more chance?
Anything.
Welcome to Plan B Agency. Select your desired destination.
Breaking news that shapes your world. With local CBC Radio 1 Live to connect us closer to home. It's news you can trust, delivered when you want, where you want. On the CBC News app. Download for free.
Imagine how good the TV's gonna look now.
Oh, God!
This is incredible.
Did you know this?
As if.
Could the pressure be any higher?
Moments that are so on trend right now. Ticket pricing, artificial intelligence, being a Swiftie. Commotion, available now on CBC Listen or wherever you get your podcasts.
Anxieties are ramping up for many northern travelers as they watch the ongoing contract dispute between Air Canada and its pilots. Both sides are still at the bargaining table, but the airline could suspend flights as early as Sunday. It would upend hundreds of thousands of business trips, vacations, and cargo shipments. Peter Cowan has the latest.
Most people arriving on the island of Newfoundland do so by air, and the majority fly Air Canada. But now, even before starting their vacation, visitors aren't sure how it'll end.
It's quite worrisome because I'm here and how will I get back? It's a little far to walk.
The union representing pilots can issue a 72-hour strike notice as of Sunday. A lockout notice is also possible. Air Canada says it'll have to start winding down flights in anticipation as early as Friday. A strike would ground all flights by Wednesday. Already, pilots have set up a strike headquarters in Toronto. Wages remain one of the big issues. The pilots are looking for a big increase to close the gap with their American counterparts.
I'm cautiously optimistic. The last week or so seems to have been productive at the negotiating table. As you can see here, we're ready for any eventuality.
But Air Canada is warning the federal government may need to step in if a deal isn't reached.
We have accepted changes to over 70% of the collective bargaining agreement, but we are now faced with unreasonable wage demands that unfortunately we cannot meet.
The tourism industry is also on edge and putting pressure on government.
A labor disruption in air travel won't just leave people stranded, it will ripple through the economy, hitting small business owners who are already struggling to make it.
The best deals happen at the bargaining table.
The federal government is still hoping this will be resolved through negotiation, not arbitration, but some travelers aren't waiting to find out. Back in Newfoundland, hotels are getting an increase in cancellations.
We're not going to be able to get the opportunity to make up this business. So, and for many of us, it's the profit.
Air Canada is letting passengers rebook their flights for free. Adding any cancellations by the airline will result in a refund. Peter Cowan, CBC News, St. John's.
The NWT's Minister of Education is defending the government's decision to cut the Northern Bonus program. The incentive provided $2,000 per year in loan forgiveness for students returning to the North after their studies. The program maxed out at $10,000 per eligible student. Last week, the GNWT canceled that program.
Absolutely, $2,000 is a lot of money, and the switch from being even somebody at home to being a post-secondary student no longer at home to now being a post-secondary graduate with debt is certainly a big deal, but it's not an insurmountable one. I believe that together, here in the territory where we want people to stay, we want people to come and take on employment and take on not just, public service, but also entrepreneurial feats, that there are multiple programs where we are working to support people either to gain employment or to gain pathways to entrepreneurship. And we definitely want people to come here and to set up roots.
Cleveland says the cut comes as the territory grapples with the financial fallout of COVID-19, flooding, and fires. The Northern Bonus Program costs the GNWT around $600,000 annually, and it was cut during the NWT's June budget approval. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre announced plans for a pre-trades program aimed at NWT high school students if his party wins the next election. He made the announcement at a public rally last Sunday in Yellowknife. But the NWT already has a pre-trades program for students, and it's unclear how a new program would interact with the old one. The CBC's Nadir Hashmi explains.
But imagine if we said we get the Red Seal Council that has been in place for 74 years, put together a high school module for every licensed trade.
Poilievre said that at a rally in Yellowknife last weekend. The Red Seal program is a certification for tradespeople across Canada. But there's already an existing program in NWT high schools called SNAP, the school's North Apprenticeship Program. It's been running since 1995. A principal says high schools collaborate with the education department to set up pre-apprenticeship training for students. It provides working experience in the trades with local businesses as a first step towards Red Seal certification.
We've had kids in plumbing and electrician, those organizations in town.
The education minister expressed openness to collaborate with any future government to strengthen trade programs across the territory.
I'm very interested in supporting if it means that the Northwest Territories has additional support for trades across the territory.
Another school official says Poilievre's announcement presents promising opportunities that could benefit students pursuing careers in the trades.
If it offered subsidized training programs or housing for students who need to travel to go to trades programs, anything like that I think would be really helpful.
In an email response, the Conservative Party says details of the plan will be revealed ahead of the next election, but didn't address CBC's questions about how this would work with the existing territorial program. For now, students in the Northwest Territories continue to rely on programs like SNAP, which has helped prepare the next generation of tradespeople for nearly 3 decades. Nadir Hashmi, CBC News, Yellowknife.
Today, Whitehorse nonprofit Blood Ties 4 Directions marked International Overdose Awareness Day. It was a chance for people impacted by drug overdoses to remember those they've lost. 8 people have died of an overdose in the Yukon so far this year.
We wanted to take the time with all of our community members to create a space where people can remember loved ones that they've lost and where we can honor and remember that this is an ongoing crisis that is happening in the north as well as the rest of Canada. So we have people, able to write memorial things for their lost family members and friends and community members, do a little craft and receive trainings and learn more about our services and share in some food today.
One of my best friends, Albert Beatty, I just lost him this year, and he's actually one of the 8 that we've lost here since the new year in the Yukon. Yeah, it's been pretty hard for just about every Yukoner. It's affected in one way or another. So many families. This crisis has hit a lot of hardship, and it's been very traumatic for us here.
And my family's been hit hardcore. I've lost cousins and nieces and the children that they leave behind. And when you see that, and it just tells you, hey, I'm still here. I'm going to say something. I'm going to do something, advocate, send people to Blood Ties.
Blood Ties operates a needle program, outreach van, and safe consumption site. Since that site opened in 2021, it has treated 101 overdoses. The image of guards standing in front of Buckingham Palace in bearskin caps is synonymous with England. Tourists even flock there to watch the changing of the guard ceremony. But with the cost of fur climbing and opposition from activists growing, we could soon see a different changing of the guard. Chris Brown reports.
Escort for the cutter! The red tunics of the King's Guard are eye-catching, but it's the big bearskin caps that make their uniforms truly distinct. For years, animal rights groups have used cruelty arguments to try to get Britain to ditch the hats. Now they're making an economic case, with Britain's Defence Ministry confirming soaring replacement costs of £2,000 or $3,500 Canadian per hat.
The bearskin caps come from bears killed in Canada, bears that can be hunted legally in every province and territory. Animal rights groups say one bear gets you one hat.
PETA UK's Jennifer White says more humane alternatives that are also cheaper are available.
Tradition is no excuse for cruelty, and the British public don't want the caps to be made from the skins of animals. You know, it just falls out of line with where we're at in modern times.
Order. A petition made it to Britain's Parliament 2 years ago, but the then Conservative government said the faux fur alternatives weren't functional enough.
And bear in mind that the guardsmen we're talking about have to wear this often in cold weather, often very wet weather, for long periods of time.
In a statement, Britain's Ministry of Defence said the bears are not hunted to order, and reductions in the number of bear skins procured will not reduce the number of bears being hunted. Canada's ceremonial guards wear bearskin hats too, and the Defence Department says it strives to maintain existing hats so as to avoid ordering new ones.
Like most famous British things, the bearskin hat is not British.
Outside St. James's Palace, visitors were divided.
I feel like we're killing an animal unnecessarily. Use fake fur.
If the bear's dead either way, who cares?
Activists hope they may have allies in the King and Queen. Camilla has reportedly already told PETA she won't be buying any more fur. Chris Brown, CBC News, London.
The Nunu Community Council is once again under fire from Innu and Inuit governments in Labrador. They say the group is a settler organization engaged in Indigenous identity fraud. The Innu Nation is now boycotting a major trade show in Happy Valley Goose Bay because organizers included Nunatuvut. Nunatuvut says it represents 6,000 Inuit in southern and central Labrador, but both the Innu Nation and Nunatsiavut government dispute that. Last month, Nunatsiavut said it wouldn't participate in the Northern Lights Business and Cultural Showcase in Ottawa if Nunatuvut was included. Organizers ended up canceling it completely. Now, the Innu Nation is making a similar move with the Expo Labrador Trade Show.
We don't want people in the table joining them that are promoting themselves because they are taking our opportunities and harming our rights for the future of our children, especially our land claims.
In a statement, Nunatuvut said they hope there's a time when they can come again together with their fellow Indigenous leaders in Labrador to strengthen relationships and work to address shared priorities. Meanwhile, Expo organizers say they're focused on other things.
As a business association, as someone who, an organization that's hosting an economic development event, we're really happy about the mix of businesses who are here, and we're really happy about the commitment that people have made to come here and create partnerships, have really good discussions, listen to what is happening here, learn how they can support. So we're quite happy with the turnout, and we're really focused on who is here.
Nunavut could be seeing a warmer autumn than usual. The Weather Network released its fall forecast yesterday. Meteorologists say besides looking warmer, autumn for the territory is also looking wetter.
So more comfortable conditions across Hudson Bay than maybe what we're used to. And there is a section more so to the south that we're expecting to see less active weather. But with that, the active weather is actually deflected a little bit farther north. So parts of Western Nunavut may be getting a little bit wetter than normal because of a more active pattern that's going to be shaping up across Western Canada and kind of targeted right at Baker Lake would be kind of the edge.
Environment and Climate Change Canada is also expecting higher temperatures. This comes after the Kivadluk and Kitikmeot regions experienced a hot and dry summer.
There are a lot of
different things going on in our atmosphere, in our oceans, many oscillations that occur naturally. So heat waves are not that unusual, but for them to reach that far north, that part is unusual. And, you know, people are not acclimatized.
According to the forecast, it's not just the north that's heating up this fall. The Weather Network is forecasting warmer temperatures across the entire country over the next few months. Now, let's That is Northbeat for tonight. For news anytime, go to cbc.ca/north. Thank you for watching. I'm Megan Roberts. Have a good night.
Why, hello.
You want it? I got it.
This is so cool. Focus, focus, focus.
Here we go. Whoa, imagine how good the TV's gonna look now.
Good God!
This is incredible.
Did you know this?
As if.
Could the pressure be any higher?
I'm such a fan of this show.
Listen to the podcast, Q with Tom Power.
The story itself is so unbelievable.
The industry wasn't set up for me to thrive in.
The presence I feel now is not something that I believed to be possible in the past.
So many people thought I couldn't do it. They doubted me.
I felt like I ripped my whole heart out.
I didn't realize how formative 25 to 30 would be.
I have to kind of repress my own self-doubt.
You're one of my favorite interviewers, so I was pumped.
Get out of here.
Q with Tom Power. Available now on CBC Listen or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi.
Yeah, you can come on over.
I'll be right there.
I feel better already.
It's got to come from the heart.
I will cry. You're so together. Spicy.
Now we're all just getting the sillies.
How much more connected do you want to be? Yeah.
Is this a team meeting? Because I'm part of the team.
See you there.
I've lived through today, this day, before. What would you be prepared to do if you had one more chance?
Anything.
Welcome to Plan B Agency. Select your desired destination.
And spoiler alert.
Cut to. Well, we're not cutting to.
What ladies want to watch?
Physical activity helps you feel younger, so you can age better. Everything gets better when you get active.
This is the CFBC's largest attachment. Congratulations on making the cut.
We're coming for you and everyone like you.
Just
job has one rule: follow orders.
News you can trust, delivered when you want, where you want, with local CBC Radio 1 Live to connect us closer to home on the CBC News app. Download for free.